Chance Podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. Today is my second time ever doing a podcast on tour and in a van. I did with Milo last week. And now I'm about to speak to my friend. I've known this guy since I was fucking 18 years old, so 33 years. And welcome to the podcast, Mr. Ernie Parada. Hi, Ernie.
Hello, how are you doing, Toby? That's pretty good math right there.
33
you did that
years.
pretty
Yeah,
quick.
I did that. Yes, I did that.
I couldn't do that.
Can I hear you? Can you hear yourself good?
I suppose. I don't really need to. I know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There are no drums behind me or anything.
I know I met you in 1987 at the Marble Bar. It was Token Entry and Rollins Band. That was a very, very awesome show.
Yes, it
for
was.
Me, because I was a massive fan of Token Entry. I got to see. I think it was the first time I saw you guys.
Do you remember the date?
I don't remember the date. I have the flyer still. Why, you remember the date?
I think it was in October. I think it was in November.
Okay.
And I know exactly why I remember this, but I'll tell you later when we get into that.
Okay. So before we get into all that, what I like to do in this podcast is that I'm interviewing people who had touched my life in a positive way, who inspired me, been part of my life as a youngster, moving to New York, and even before that. So I want to take it back to you. Where were you born?
I was born in Hell's Kitchen, New York City.
Oh, shit. I didn't even know that. I thought you were Queens.
No, I was born in Manhattan.
Okay.
I was born in Manhattan and quickly moved to Astoria, Queens.
Okay.
Right.
And so...
And I've been there ever since.
Ever since. Queens for life for you.
Yeah, Queens for life. Well, until I leave, but so far, yeah, Queens for life.
So how are you growing up in Queens? Like, how was your home? Did you have strict parents? Were you guys religious? What was it like in your home growing up?
My house was almost an English as a second language house. I grew up speaking Spanish.
Oh, wow.
And my father was a military man, and
Okay.
my mom worked in a bank. So it was pretty good. My father, after he was a military man, but when I was born, he was already civilian, as they say, and he was the tone regulator at Steinway Pianos.
Oh, wow.
For many, many years, 40-something years until he retired. Yeah, that's why we lived in Astoria, because that's where the Steinway factory is.
Yeah. So how are you we talked about it briefly outside a minute ago because we're parents and stuff now, but how were you in school? Did you like school? Were you a misfit? Were you outgoing? Did you play sports? Like, what was your vibes in school?
When I was in school, when I was like, as a little kid, when I went through like first through 8th grade, I was fine. I had no problem. I had a lot of friends in school.
Yeah.
And then when I went to high school, by the time I went into high school, by the time I was in 7th grade, I was already into punk rock, right?
Okay.
So
7th grade, damn.
Yeah. So I was one of those that got into it just as it was starting.
Yeah.
In the late 70s. So I went to the High School of Art and Design.
Okay.
And when I was there, I met Andy Gortler and Sean Taggart and a bunch of other guys that were there. They were really great.
Yeah.
And New York City at that time, which was 82 or 83, was not the city that it is now. So that school, there were, you were getting, not me personally, not yet at least, but people were getting mugged every day. People were getting robbed every day. It was a rough place. And going to and coming back was even rough. Subways weren't the way they are now. So my parents got fed up with that and pulled me out and put me in a school called McClancy, which was an all-boys Queens school. See, I'm from Astoria, and Astoria is in Queens, but really it's an outlier. It's very, very different from Queens.
Yeah.
Queens is all about, it's a very diverse community, but it's not really, wasn't at that time the most creative place.
Gotcha.
Astoria was.
Okay.
So we weren't even about sports. We didn't care. We played Little League when we were little, but once we were in high school, it was about what band were you into, what band were you in, what instrument do you play, who do you know? Like, that's every last person I knew.
So, but how did you get into it in 7th grade? Like, what was your first exposure to it? Like,
my first exposure as a little kid, as a very little kid, I had a friend that lived right across the alley from us, and she had a big brother who used to blast Black Sabbath out of his window. His name was Richie Kremen. And I used to hear Paranoid and War Pigs coming out of his window, and it used to blow me away. What is that? So one day she took me inside to go meet this guy, and he introduced me to Queen and Sabbath and Led Zeppelin and all that stuff. And I got into that. And I was totally into that. I had one of those little like 6-inch tape recorders, like for like recording yourself doing a speech. And I used to buy tapes. Well, I used to get my mom to buy me tapes. I used to put them in there. One little 4-inch speaker. I used to rock out.
It's awesome.
And then I had a big brother. I had 2 brothers. And my middle brother, I'm the youngest of 3. The middle brother was always the guy that was into things first. He still is to this day.
Okay.
If there's something new that's getting popular, it's already old news to him, right?
Okay.
So he came around with the Ramones album. Look at these guys. These guys are from where are they? Jamaica or Forest Hills. They're from Forest Hills, right? And second I heard that first Ramones album, it changed everything. You know, like all the Sabbath and the Queen took a back seat, and this Ramones album was like the thing.
Yeah.
And then that was the first big change, the Ramones album. And then a couple of months or maybe a couple of years later, he came and hit me with the first Minor Threat single.
Wow.
And that was the next change. From that point on, it was like at that point I started, now the Ramones are taking a back seat. This is the thing. And then after that, it was 7 Seconds and all that. And I was totally hooked. Total hooked from the very, very beginning.
So was your first show, like when you were in 7th grade? You saw like when was your first live show?
My first show I went to, I played.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was November 12th, 1981.
Okay.
82. And there was this place that I've never been because I was in 8th grade, or 9th grade, right? That I didn't know. But there was a guy down the street that went to junior high school with my friend. We were starting to play it in a band, just goofing around, right?
Yeah.
But he had this club, and who was this guy? His name is Jimmy Drescher. He went to school. He went to 141, which is the middle school.
Yeah.
And he said, you can come play this club. But before that, like, I remember, like, right around that Ramones time, we were into the Clash, and this is really early, man. Really early, like Bay City Rollers early, right?
Wow.
And we're walking to the school bus, and I see a kid on a bicycle with one of those high sissy bars, and he cuts everybody off as they're getting into the bus, and he just cuts everybody off. I'm like, whoa, what's that? And as he rides away, he has the Clash written on the back of his jacket. Like, who is that kid? It became a task. Who is that guy that he knows what the Clash is? Because no one knew what it was.
Yeah.
And that was Johnny Feedback from Kraut.
Oh, wow.
And they were starting this band Kraut, and we had to be there every time. Every time we would go to the studio and just watch this and be amazed by it. And then my brother had a band called Peer Pressure.
Okay.
And that was tantamount to what Fu Manchu is now, you know?
Okay.
Like that. And he used to do block parties. He would go and watch this. We got to do this. Then we started to, practice in Johnny's garage.
Yeah.
And that's when this guy Jimmy Drescher says, you can go play this place. We went, it was A7.
Wow.
And you don't have to be there until 2 a.m. because it won't even be open yet.
Oh, shit.
And everything was empty. There was it's not like it is today. It was empty. There was nothing anywhere. This is the only place with lights on. It was something. And
so your parents were cool about going to Manhattan and playing shows that young? And
yeah, they were really cool with it. It's an interesting thing. The very second show we did was, now remember, at this point I think I'm 14 or 15 years old. The very second show we did, no, I couldn't have been because I was a freshman in high school. How old were you when you were a freshman in high school?
Freshman in high school, I think you
14 or 15?
14, 15, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was in art and design, and I met Andy Gortler, who later went on to do the Devil Dogs, but he was in Gilligan's Revenge with me. Okay. And he had a friend named Johnny Stiff.
Yes.
And this guy was old. He had a license. Right. So he said, you guys can come play this place in Connecticut, which to me was the other side of the world.
Totally.
So we begged our parents. They said, okay. And he drove us in Andy's sister's car to go all the way to this place called, this is long before the Anthrax, it was called Pogo's.
Okay.
And when we got there, we walk in, and I recognized the faces. We're playing with the Angry Samoans.
Holy shit.
I was blown away. I was like blown away.
Tour probably, yeah.
So we had pictures from that. We're like little kids, man.
Wow.
Little kids.
Yeah.
Little kids. Like your son, way older than we were at that time. You know what I mean? And we were there in Connecticut, and we played and came back and I did that for the next 30 some odd years, 40 years of my life. Yeah.
So that's Gilligan's Revenge, correct?
That was Gilligan's Revenge. Yeah.
And so how many years did that band last?
That band lasted up until, I'm going to say, maybe, because the very first Sick of It All shows, that was 85 or 86, right? So I'm going to say until around 85.
85?
Yeah. I would say from 81 to 85.
So you're in school playing shows
Yeah,
the whole time.
and I wrote this song called Antidote, which is about that very same thing. Is like you go through your normal life just so on that weekend you can just be yourself. You know what I mean? And that's what
Great
it was all
song.
about. Yeah, you wait all week for that one day. You know what I mean? That's what it was about. And there was always matinees, so you didn't even care who was playing. You would just go to a matinee. Before there was CB's matinees, there was A7 matinees. You used to go to those.
What do you think your connection was to it? It was so strong at such a young age.
I don't know. That's a damn good question. It was a creative output. It was pretty much what everybody says my age. You don't fit everywhere else.
Yeah.
And here you can do anything you want. You can just be as goofy and as stupid as we did.
100%.
Right? So you can be as goofy and as stupid as you want, and everything's accepted. And in those days you would go see, the Mob, then Reagan Youth, then even worse, and three completely, and then Crowd, four completely different bands, completely not sharing any DNA at all, but they're all part of this scene.
Yeah.
There was no blueprint yet for what you need to do to be called a hardcore band or a skinhead band or a straight edge band. It was none of that. So,
were you like around peer pressure in school, like drugs and stuff around you?
well, that's an interesting point. This is hard to explain with words because before I got into high school, I sat in my bedroom and put on my white plastic record player that you open up like this with the cover. I put on Minor Threat, and there was that song "Stand Up," right? Don't go out without a friend, you might need him in the end. And that would stick with me, right?
Yeah.
And I got completely sucked into that world.
Okay.
To the point where peer pressure to me had no teeth at all. There was no convincing me that I should be drinking or doing anything like that. There was no convincing me. When I saw somebody doing that, I immediately thought they were the stupid one.
Yeah.
And there was no way to pressure me. If you tried that, I'd be laughing at you. And I went to a school where everybody would come and say, I was so drunk, man, I threw up, and I would just be rolling my eyes. What a bunch of assholes. And I never, ever, ever felt peer pressure at all.
Yeah.
Never had that problem because of Ian MacKaye. I really listened to that and I bought into it.
Connected with you, man.
Hook, line, and sinker. And it stuck with me until this day,
Wow.
Yeah, man. Totally.
So you never tried anything?
I never did any drugs. Although I did have a friend in my 30s, my late 30s, that turned me onto this concept of microbreweries.
Okay.
Craft beer. This guy I know made this beer.
Okay.
And that has a thing to it that I kind of like.
Yeah.
I'm not a beer guy, but I like the idea that this isn't Budweiser. This is a friend of yours that makes it.
Yeah.
And that turned me on a little bit. So I would taste beers. I would like, I want to know what.
But that didn't start to your 30s?
Yeah, it started in my 30s and stopped in my 40s. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I've never been drunk in my life. I've never done any drugs. I've never done anything like that. No.
Yeah, but you never called yourself straight edge either. I like that. It was cool. It's a personal thing.
I wouldn't deny it, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I have an IRO that these guys out here in Long Island gave me this cool down tube sticker that says straight edge on it. It's been on there forever. So if you see my bike, it says straight edge on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would never deny it, but I'm not the type to go say anything about myself, unfortunately.
Yeah. I respect that. I like that. So in school, you're playing music, and what was your goals in school? Like, what would you want to do when you graduated? Now you're playing this punk rock music. Yeah. It's your escape. You love it. You're going to shows on the weekend. Mm-hmm. You're still doing good in school. Like, what was your goals when you graduated?
My goal, then and now, I never had an intention of being a musician full time.
Okay.
Never. Playing music for me was something that I did full time. I toured a lot. I played a lot. I gave it every ounce of my energy, but I never expected to make money for it.
Yeah.
I never thought it would happen.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I was right. Never did. Right? But I always wanted to do something in visual arts. Always. Yeah. So when I went to school, I went to art schools. Yeah. I always wanted to be involved in visual art as a designer or as an illustrator or something along those lines. But I was always playing, but I never thought I'm going to make a dime at this. We used to go to gigs. I'm telling you, I don't know if this happened to you, but with Mark.
Yeah.
We used to go to gigs all the way in Albany, and if it was taking too long for the guy to give us the money, we would just drive away.
Are you serious?
Serious? What's it going to be? $40? You know, what's the point? What's the point? Like at that marble bar gig, I told you, at the end of that gig, here we are playing with Rollins Band. And Rollins Band at that time was a sight to behold. You know, like they had that trap drum set where he's like inside of like a exoskeleton of steel stands, and he's up there covered in muscle and sweat, wearing nothing but those bikini shorts.
Yeah, man.
And he goes up and he takes like 5 minutes to put like 5 toes comfortably over the edge of the stage. And he starts rocking back and forth, and you're like, what the hell is about to happen?
That shit was crazy.
And then it just explodes, right?
Yeah.
And how many people were there? 60? Right? So at the end of the night, when we were unloading, or they were unloading, I was talking to Ian for a long time that night. I remember him having long dreads.
Yeah.
And the guy said, we got to pay you guys. And he took us outside to the van when we were just about to drive away, and he handed us a roll of quarters.
No.
And Henry took it happily, said thank you, and smacked them on the side of the van, ripped it, and gave us half. And that was it.
Wow, man.
Next city, right? And that's the way we got paid on that day, and no one complained.
Yeah.
I never expected to make any money. I never did.
Yeah.
You know, like when we signed with Positive Force, did I ever think that there was going to be money at it? No. It was Kevin. He'll do anything he wants.
Yeah.
You know?
That's amazing in itself. And you did the artwork for the first Token Entry record, which is an amazing album cover. And I'm sure people listening can look at it. But you did a lot of the artwork for all that stuff.
I did all the artwork for all the records I've ever done.
Okay.
I think. Yeah. Except the compilations that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I loved about Token Entry is that you guys had songs about skateboarding, and it wasn't really talked about or sung about in New York City, in that scene, in the hardcore scene.
Well, I was totally hooked because I live in Astoria, and there's not famous anymore, but there was a famous place called the Pyramids.
Yeah.
And that's really close to our house. And it's funny how that started. This goes back to the 6th grade, maybe. I was still in grammar school when I had a friend come home with me. His name was Patrick Burns. And he came home to my house for, I don't remember what reason. He saw that I had a skateboard. Yeah. I had a Variflex Eric Grisham model.
Sick.
One of the big ones,
Variflex.
And everybody else had the little plastic ones you get at the drugstore, and I had this big one. And he said, "Whoa, what's that?" And he goes, and I said, "It's a skateboard. I got that for Christmas." And he goes, "Did you ever take him to the pyramids?" And at this time, I didn't even know those things were called pyramids. And he goes, "No." And he goes, "Oh, my brother taught me this. Come with me." So I went up to his apartment, and he came out with a little Kryptonics board.
Yeah.
We went down to the pyramids, and he rode down the sidewalk, went up, kicked, and came back down. And I was like, I can't believe what I just saw.
I kicked her.
Do that again.
Yeah.
And he went up the side of the pyramid, kicked it, and came back down. And I stood there trying my best to learn that for the whole day until I can go up and do it backside. Right? And come back down. I was like, that is the coolest thing in the world. Oh, that's nothing. And they started showing me all these different things that his older brother taught him. I went and taught that to Johnny Cons.
Oh, shit. Okay.
From Kraut.
Yeah.
And then from there, it exploded. And then before you knew, we had 60, 70, 80 people there every single weekend. JFA came there. The Faction came there. I don't know how many other bands. They all came here to skate those pyramids. They were in Thrasher 100 times. They're still all over the internet.
Yeah, I remember the pyramids. Yeah, it was a big deal.
Were
the Bones Brigade video was a big impact on you, too?
By the time the Bones Brigade, I wouldn't say a big impact. I was blown away by them.
Yeah.
But you know what they did? They just made me say, all right, I'm not doing any of that.
What was like your best trick?
I'm not getting that far. Russell Ligley, I don't know if you've ever seen him ride skateboard. He's insane.
Underdog,
right? So he used to come to Astoria all the time. I played the drums for them for a little while, too.
Okay.
And he taught me how to do an invert. So you go to the top of the board, you got to go to the top of the pyramid, you put your hand down, and you ollie up while your hand is on the bottom, and you spin around in a half circle, come back down. So I tried that until I broke my ankle.
Oh,
shit. And then I broke my ankle. And on that, the couple of weeks after I broke my ankle, with the cast, I played in Thompson Square Park with the Beastie Boys.
Holy shit.
I couldn't play the hi-hat. I had to play it without the hi-hat because I was...
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy.
What
That's
year
how
was that?
long ago this is.
Yeah.
It was still a hardcore band.
Fuck. Pollywog Stu era, right?
Yeah, well, maybe a little after that. Maybe they were just starting to go the other way. But yeah, it was after Pollywog Stu because years before that, we went to talk to them because they were always always very cool with me.
Yeah.
Always very cool with me. And we went to go talk to them about doing a record with Rat Cage.
Okay.
And Dave said that they have to okay it. So we gave them a demo and they loved it. And then we went and we recorded it. We recorded the whole demo, the whole album. We went to the Rat Cage and it was closed. We went back the next day, it's closed. We went back the next day, it's closed. It's gone.
Oh, shit.
So we took that demo and that became the first Token Entry album.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So who recorded the first Token Entry record?
Jerry Williams.
Okay.
King Jerry Williams.
And that came out 88? Oh, no.
No.
86?
Jeez, I don't remember. 88, I would say, because we
'Cause
toured.
I saw you in 87, though. You toured before it came out, right?
The tour was with Anthony, so that was on the single.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
The first tour, the big one, was with Anthony.
Okay.
The big one. We drove to California with one gig scheduled. Right.
amazing.
We drove all the way to San Francisco, played this one gig, and then stayed at this guy PJ's house for I don't know how many days until we met up with Verbal Abuse. And they got us a couple of other gigs, and then that introduced us to MDC, which got us a couple more. And that got us the money to get down to San Diego.
Wow.
Then we
man.
played in San Diego, and then we played all the way back.
Just totally winging it, man.
We don't know what the next gig is until we finish this one and see what can we do next.
And no phones, just like meeting
No
meeting people along the way, man. Like,
That's it. Sleeping wherever you can. We're driving around in this little van. We hope it makes it to the next place. That's it.
wow. And so when that record came out,
Anthony terrified of bridges, and you know it's like Mr. T or something.
and flying
You gotta-
still, he says
flying, bridges, going near water. He's like this. He's like yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he was great, man.
So was that the only tour he did with you, and that was it?
That was the end of it. Yeah, that was the end of it. That was the end.
And so what were you doing at that time? Were you just working and doing that?
At that time, oh geez, was I still in school? I was probably working in a pizza place because I remember I took time off from the pizza to play with Underdog. So yeah, I was probably working, but I was still in school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was still in school, and I probably just graduated high school.
Okay.
Or maybe I was in between junior and senior year. Now you're asking me. I don't really remember. You know?
So when the Token Entry record came out, you're all out of school, for sure. Yeah.
Well, let's see, 88. No,
Yeah.
I had to still be in high school.
No, because you're older than me. I graduated in '88. I was 18.
All right, so that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, was that late?
Yeah.
88. Damn. I would need to put this on pause and get my calendar. I don't really know.
So when
Yeah.
that record came out, what was the reaction to the first Token Entry? Did you guys have a following already? Was it different for the scene? Because that record's so different than what was coming out at that time, I feel.
Well, here's the thing. That record was a smoothing over of original hardcore.
Okay.
First generation hardcore,
Yeah.
which I would call the very beginning, which is Crowd, Reagan Youth, Gilligan's Revenge, The Mob, Urban Waste, like these. This
Yeah.
is the very, very beginning. But once you get into the 85, 86, that's when it just blows up.
Okay.
That's when Sick of It All and everything like
That's
the
right.
Chromags, and I think Chromags came out around that time, right?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to. So that's when it happened, right? Token Entry at this time was still a holdover from the other one, but it was smoothed out because I'm much more of a melodic guy than I'm a hardcore guy.
Yeah.
I'm not a hardcore guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a hardcore guy, but not a hardcore guy.
I love
you
the
know?
melody too. For
Yeah,
Sure.
I made it through life without a single tattoo yet.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I was always like Antidote. You can tell, you can already see that the songs that I was writing were getting a little more like on the poppy side, a little more on the
Love it,
melodic
yeah.
side. So and that was a very early one. We did that one with Anthony. So
yeah. 7 Seconds, a big influence.
huge influence.
Yeah.
7 Seconds to me was magical.
Agreed.
Magical. Like when I first like the crew was a hardcore record, but it still had a little melody.
Totally.
But when I heard that 99 Red Balloons cover, I was like, holy cow! Now they're doing something. This is a
Yeah.
cover song, but still, this is ballsy. You know what I mean?
Amazing, man.
So
Yeah.
so that was like and then me and Kevin became tight friends forever after that.
Yeah.
He lived in New York for a little while. We used to go to gigs every single day.
I know. What year was that? He lived in New York.
Oh God, you're killing me here. What year was that?
Mid '90s.
I was in college at
I
that
wonder
time.
how he even got. What made him come to New York?
He was the way he had this label called Pacifist Records,
Okay.
right? And the way he explained it to me, he had a girlfriend here that had a really beautiful apartment on Broadway downtown in
Gotcha.
the Wall Street area. I think down on Chambers Street. And we used to have breakfast over at Waverly every single day. And he was really cool. And we used to go up into his apartment. He had this label called Pacifist, but he wanted to change the label to be only singles. And he
Gotcha.
wanted to change 2 letters, and it made it Pizza Fast. right? So we were going to do this thing, and his idea, the way I remember him explaining it to me, was if you live in New York, you can do a short tour of 7 states. You can do Connecticut, Philadelphia. You can go to D.C. You can go,
Jersey,
you can go all around. But when you're in California, you got to travel a long way just to get started.
Yeah.
So that's the way he explained it to me. It made sense at the time. I don't know if it probably doesn't apply now because you can go around the corner and find a show.
Totally,
right?
yeah.
But then it was a good theory, and he lived here for a little while, and then he went back.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, 7 seconds. I mean, you could definitely hear that influence in Token Entry too.
Oh, totally.
Even especially in Jaybird too.
Totally.
On the melodies, all that stuff, and just
yeah.
But was a warm reaction to the first record?
Oh yeah, it was great.
Like buzz going on in the city.
It was insane.
Yeah.
One of the best CBGB shows that I remember was the Token Entry From Beneath the Streets album release party.
Gotcha.
That's when we came up with the idea. Let's buy 5 cases of Silly String, which people still do.
Mm-hmm.
We destroyed the place with Silly String, and Tim, we used to work in a place called Garden World. I know you mentioned that in your...
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he used to work in Garden World. He used to get these gigantic inflatable pool toys. And we used to have big alligators and all this stuff. And we would just fill them up at the end. And we had this whole thing planned out where I would start Revelation with the drums, and he would be lying there on a lawn chair with a pina colada and a straw hat. Right? And as soon as I'd finish the drum part, he would slowly get up, fold the lawn chair, put it away, take the hat off, take off the Hawaiian shirt, or whatever it is, and people would be screaming, and then finally go into the tune, and it would explode. Silly String. Oh, yeah, and we had feather pillows. Cut the top and just whip them around.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and we just made a gigantic mess. And then I remember the guys at the cleanup CBGBs were complaining, and Hilly just said, "That's part of the show. You gotta let him do what's part of the show." He was so cool with me, man. I used to be like lying in bed and the phone would ring, and I'd pick it up and say, "It's Hilly. Brian and the boys are coming. Do you want to be on the bill?" Brian and the boys is dag nasty. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. He just called me up and offer things. He was the greatest dude ever. Yeah.
Wow. And did you meet Timmy? Where'd you meet Timmy? Like, how did you get into the mix after Anthony?
I met Timmy in Anthony's basement.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. We used to practice in Anthony's basement.
Gotcha.
And we had tryouts. But again, I never thought I was going to make anything out of this. I wish I had more of Walter's thinking. You know what I mean? I didn't. All I wanted in the band was someone I liked. So the only 2 people I asked that I thought of was Tim and Squirm.
Wow, Squirm.
Squirm tried out for Token Entry, and he would hold the mic. He wouldn't open his mouth. He wouldn't say anything. And then Tim would come in after him and explode and say, "Well, you got the job."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how he got it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so he was in any bands before that, though, was he?
No. He was just a skater dude.
Yeah.
From out in Queens, he was from Bayside or Flushing, like that.
So then, did you guys tour on that first record a lot? Yeah.
We toured around. We did a bunch of things. It all becomes a blur after a while. I don't remember what we were doing, but we played a lot, hell of a lot. And then when Jaybird happened, maybe not. Maybe that first record not so much. We did because I don't remember. It's all blurring together. But after Jaybird, we did a lot after Jaybird.
But you guys are all holding down jobs at the same time, taking time off, touring.
Well,
Timmy was in the union, I remember.
Kinda. Yeah, Tim was he in the union yet? I don't know. Or maybe he was just starting. He was taking time off. And I was still in college.
And what was your major?
Fine art. Fine art education. I was an art teacher for a little while.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
that was during the Black Train Jack years.
Wow.
I was an art teacher, and I used to tour during the summer.
That's perfect.
Until I got a call from Boston's management and said, "Do you want to do 35 days with the Boston's starting September 5th?"
Oh,
so I
shit.
said, damn, I got to quit my job or not do this. So I quit the job.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's crazy. You quit your teaching job.
I quit my teaching job. And then I remember I used to talk about it with a friend all the time because he was a teacher at the time too, right?
Who?
Todd.
Yeah, substitute teacher. Yeah, Todd.
He used to say we used to meet him in the Roadrunner office. I think he used to work in the Roadrunner.
Yeah, he did.
All right.
I did too. The mirror room too. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I used to talk to him about that all the time, and he say, "You're not teachers anymore, man. It's over." And but I made a mistake. I let my license run out.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I can't be a teacher anymore unless I go back to school.
Fuck.
That was a mistake. Yeah.
So do you regret that?
Yeah. I have a lot of regrets. I'm not like your average Joe. I made a lot of mistakes, but I regret none of them. I made a lot of mistakes, and I regret every last one.
Damn.
I have a lot of regrets, man. I
So-
would have done a lot of things differently if I could do it all over.
Was the Boston's tour great? Was
That
it
was
awesome?
incredible. I don't regret that.
Such a great band of humans,
That was
dude.
incredible.
You know how to
man.
treat a band. They're like such amazing people. man,
Yeah,
the
they were
bands.
great. They were great. And Gittleman is like a genius.
Yeah,
Dude's a genius.
great
And,
songwriter. Yeah.
Yeah, and but more than that, like he's a thinker. You know,
Mhm.
he's a songwriter and he plans things out. And he has this. Well, he did then. He used to have these hand signals. Did you know about the hand signals?
No.
He would like they had no set list. He would just call out the next song
Oh shit.
using hand signals.
Wow.
Right? So he would. I remember the one that they had a song called "Last Dead Mouse," and he would do this, like you're shaking a mouse from the tail,
Holy
and that meant
shit.
"Last Dead Mouse" is next. And we used to like try to guess what the next song is by his hand signals. Yeah, they were.
Wow.
Yeah, he was
He's like a teacher in Vermont now or something.
I don't know. He's just
He's
smart
a music
dude.
teacher now. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a smart dude. I
So
have a
what?
lot of respect for him.
What year was that Boston's tour?
That was after the first Black Train Jack album. So whenever that was.
Yeah.
Let me
so
see. That was I finished Black Train Jack in '95, right? Because I started Gray Area then. So I would say '90.
okay.
Yeah, 95, 90, 91. And that was after oh God. So after Token Entry slipped out of my hands, right? Token Entry was a hardcore band. Then it was going to be what essentially Black Train Jack was, right?
Yeah.
But it slipped out of my hands. It started to get a little on the metal side, and then it started to get a little on the funk side, and then it started to go
That's
all
right.
it started to go all around the place. So Token Entry had to end. So then I started Black Train Jack. But to do the Black Train Jack, I had this contract with Roadrunner.
Okay.
I didn't know how to get out of it.
Okay.
So I had a lawyer, I don't know if it was Dave or I don't know who, told me, write them a letter saying that you want to be released from the contract. So I wrote them a letter saying, if I don't hear from you in 90 days, I guess I'm released. I never heard back. So
Holy
I
shit.
figured that I'm free now. Who's the person that shows up at a Black Train Jack show on the 91st day? Howie Abrams from Roadrunner.
Wow.
Yeah, so signed up with them again.
How are you?
You know,
shout
and
out, yeah.
yeah, so he was great too. He was great, man. He took care of us a lot.
I mean, first of all, the Token Entry record and then the Jaybird record, Credible Records. I like Way to the World. I got a shout out on there with a sack flap laid back. There was some great songs on there too. There was a lot of wonderful songs on there. And then the Black Train Jack, man, those first albums on Roadrunner, those are fucking perfect albums, man.
Thank you. Thank
Wonderful
you very
albums,
much, man.
front to back, both classics.
That one I didn't let slip away. That
Yeah.
one I had a good team. Everybody had a really good job. You know what I mean? Like Brian, as you've noticed, he's a way better speaker than I am.
Yeah.
We used to send him on European interview tours with Pete Steele. He used to go Pete Steele, flying from city to city in Europe. Just
Those
doing,
two together?
Yeah.
Oh my
Right.
God,
'Cause
man.
he just make us sound smart, right?
Holy shit.
And Nick, the drummer, was amazing at organization and planning and whatever. He was like the tour manager. He was
Yeah.
like wicked smart like that.
Yeah.
Right. And then Rob with that voice. I mean, like when I first met Rob, he was in a Biohazard covered band,
No way.
and I was like, "Are you for real? Who is this kid?" I was outside and I hear this voice. I was like, "Who is that?" And it's Joe's cousin, Joe from In Your Face.
Yeah.
And I said, "Let me go in there." And I met this kid, and he started roading with Brian. Him
Okay.
and Brian were our roadies.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And then we started just like when like after sound check, after Token Entry sound check, we'd started just goofing around, and I would get Brian. I would play guitar, and I don't know, Chunks would play the drums. Brian would play bass because I was teaching him literally how to play the bass.
Got you.
Because I said, like I said, picking Squirm or Tim, I liked Brian a lot. He was my best friend, so I wanted him in the band with me. So I'm going to teach you how to play this thing. You just have to get good enough to play.
Yeah.
Right? So I taught him how to play the bass, and we started a band, and we called it. He didn't remember the name. It was Lungfish.
Lungfish?
Lungfish.
Because there is another Lungfish from DC.
Yeah, we didn't know that.
Wow.
Right, but this was a band that was literally one song only during after sound checks.
Gotcha.
Of Token Entry sound checks. We never did anything.
Yeah.
And then when Token Entry had to end because it was stinking up the place, we took that same exact thing. Lungfish was the very first song.
Wow.
And that was Black Train Jack.
So was when Token Entry Okay, so let's get back to Tony for a second. So Jaybird, the record came out, and that did really, really well too, right?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And you guys were internationally touring in that point.
Oh, yeah, it was
probably.
great. That was great. We had to cancel 2 tours, ridiculously.
Which ones?
2 European tours. The first one.
Hey, wait, grab me that bag by your legs. I feel bad. You keep stepping on the platform.
What is
Where
it?
the fuck? I don't know. Somebody's fucking food. It's making noise.
Oh,
go ahead.
I don't think this headset is on because I don't hear anything like that.
You can't hear anything?
I mean, I hear
Can
you,
hear
but
yourself? Can you hear yourself in
I
there?
hear good enough.
Okay.
So, what were we just?
You were saying that Token Edge can't miss 2 tours.
Oh yeah. The first Token Entry tour was booked like I don't know how it was booked. It was booked without our knowing.
Really?
Because it was like, oh, you guys are gonna play in Europe. All right, yeah, sure. Like at that time, like who gives a shit about what hardcore is in Europe? You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
who knows what they do in Europe? It's literally another country,
Yeah.
right? So or another continent. And I didn't think that anybody would care, and probably no one would care. But they booked some shows. I didn't even know about them. I guess they just expected us to go.
Wow.
So we never did those, and from what I understood, it was canceled. So that one I don't even know about. That was booked without me knowing.
Yeah.
But the next tour was going to be monstrous. It was going to be us. It was going to be Dan O'Mahony's band at the time.
No for an answer?
No for an Answer, and Wrecking Crew.
Oh shit. Okay.
Right. It was pretty much that that live album at CBGB's.
Yep.
Right. And we were going to go to Europe, and everything was going to be awesome, and everything was going to be great. And it was explained to us that Roadrunner is a European band label.
Yeah,
so
they were huge there,
it was
yeah.
going to be good, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't even know what the hell that meant, but whatever, we'll go. Man, if 2 or 3 days before that, George Bush Sr. attacked Kuwait,
Yes.
and our bass player and our guitarist, both guys are brothers. Their father or their uncle said, "You're crazy if you go. They're going to kill you out there. We're not going to the Middle East." We just, and they refused to get on the plane.
Holy shit.
It was a knockdown, drag out, scream fest.
Damn.
The cab is outside and you're not going to get in. We're going. I'm not leaving.
Holy shit.
Needless to say, we never saw or spoke to those guys again. But
That was it for them, yeah.
that was it for Token Entry. We had to end it after that. This is a joke. We're stinking everything up.
So that was Way of the World?
That was the very end. The end of Way to the World. Yeah.
Wow.
That was the end.
And how was that record received at that one? Because it did get funky.
It got very funky. It wasn't received as well as it should have been. Or maybe it got the respect it deserved. It depends on how you look at it. But yeah, that didn't start out being a funk record.
Okay.
I wanted Dr. No to play the lead on a song
Okay.
on Jaybird.
Okay.
And he said, well, rather than play the lead, how about I produce the record? And we said, go for it.
Holy shit.
So we went into the studio, Water Music, and in Hoboken, and we recorded, but he never showed up. Jerry Williams produced it.
Oh,
for
shit,
the most part. I mean, Doc
Okay.
showed up once in a while, but he never
Yeah.
did anything. So when the next album came along, Way to the World, he said, all right, this time I'm going to take care of you. So he came to practices, he came here, he came there, he came everywhere we went. And he changed every little thing we did.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
So
Was like Chili Peppers big at the time or something? Like, what was
Chili
this?
Peppers was huge
There's
at
a
the time.
funk vibe going on.
But it was a funk vibe going on. So he changed everything down to the drum beats, down to how many times we're doing the chorus, what the chorus is, what's Tim going to do, who's going to sing it, a lot of stuff.
You guys just rolling with it?
She was Dr. No.
I know.
So
Yeah.
so he's a genius, man. That guy taught me more than man. He taught me a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
He was great. He's ultimate respect for that guy.
Yeah.
But we changed everything. I'm not going to say he turned it into a funk record, but he definitely helped it.
Did you love it at the time when you did it? Like, and listen to it
Well,
back?
I loved the lyrics, like I don't want to go home. It's
I
about
love that
being on
song.
tour and loving it.
Yeah.
And the one about you, Bill and Brian and Tim's excellent adventure.
Yeah.
and the revolution of values. I was getting really turned up. Like that's a big one. It's a big like. It's
So you
almost
wrote
like
all the songs mostly in Token Entry?
yeah.
And Black Train Jack?
I wrote most of the songs in Token Entry, but not the medley ones.
Okay.
Not like Tragic Magic and Forbidden Zone and stuff like that.
Yeah, the melodic ones. Yeah.
The melodic ones I wrote, and
Wow.
like Jaybird is almost. I shouldn't be saying this, should I?
It's the truth.
All right, so yeah, Jaybird is almost on me, and not lyrics though.
Yeah.
Lyrics,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not my bag.
Yeah.
And Black Train Jack was.
I think it's.
By that time, I think I'd made my bones. So when I had Nick, Brian, and Rob, Black Train Jack was mine.
Okay.
So I wrote the tunes. I did everything.
I think it's a known fact, public fact, to know that you're an amazing songwriter and write a lot of things. Yeah.
Thank you. And then that was that. And Black Train Jack ended. I don't even know how. Oh, I know how Black Train Jack ended. I'll tell you how. We were touring a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
Black Train Jack was touring a hell of a lot, and we would be going out on the road, and we weren't allowed to sell records or CDs. Here's a funny story.
Why?
Before I get into that, we weren't allowed.
Okay.
The story was you are interrupting the sales from mom and pop shops.
Weird.
Right.
Okay.
So we used to sell vinyl on the table.
Got you.
And then vinyl went out, and it was all CDs.
Yeah.
Right. And then we were selling CDs for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then later on, vinyl came back. And the first few months of having the vinyl, kids would say, "Ooh, how much for the calendar?" I had no idea what it was.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So anyway, we would go around, and we couldn't sell anything off of the stage. We weren't allowed to. So I would call, and we had a really good lawyer, and really good manager. Our manager was Anthony County from the Bad Brains.
Yeah.
And there was nothing that could be done. You're not allowed to sell off the records. It's for sale in the stores, right? So we played this amazing show. So many people there, because that's the thing about Black Train Jack. Black Train Jack, like no other band I was ever in, caught fire.
Yeah.
You know, there was no lead up. There was no suffering. Third gig, it was sold out.
Wow.
You know, so
And it was a good diverse about Black Train Jack that it wasn't. You could have like the toughest people in the crowd sing along to these melodic songs.
that's what made it so special.
It was such a great diverse group of people at the Black Train Jack show.
That's what made
because
Black Train
you
Jack.
had breakdowns, you had mosh parts, and you had these
Yeah.
huge choruses and melodies.
Yeah.
It was really awesome, man.
The thing that made Black Train Jack special was timing.
Yeah.
We were playing a brand of music that no one was playing. It was all crossover metal, and we were playing a brand of
Everything's
music
really tough and street at
tough,
that time.
and everybody wanted to hear it.
Yeah.
But no one had any access to it because it was in California.
Gotcha.
So when we started doing it, man, it took off, man. We played Super Bowls of hardcore.
I remember that.
You know what I mean? Like we used to play hardcore shows. And then a couple of years ago in 2013, we did the This Is Hardcore.
Yeah.
Didn't go so well.
It didn't.
Nah, man, this isn't hardcore. Because now there's a thumbprint. If you don't meet the thumbprint, if you don't meet the standard, then you don't fit. Right? But like I said, back in the early days, man, you could have Reagan Youth and the Mob on the same bill.
Totally.
Totally different worlds.
Yeah. But yeah, Black Train Jack was playing with could play with the Gnostic Front, could play with Sick of It All, could play with 7 Seconds.
Anything.
Could play with Down by
Sick
Law.
of It All. I wrote
all
a song called Gratitude, which is about Sick of It All because we couldn't get to Europe if it wasn't for them. They took us on the first European tour.
Took us on the first two, yeah.
And
Also, yeah.
and we got off the plane. I had no idea what to expect. This is Europe, man. I had no idea what to expect. We got off the plane, got in a cab, made it to a club. The place was filled. So I figured, Sick of It All does really well in Europe. I've heard this for a long time. I go into the room, and people are going like this to me. They're touching me like this on the shoulder.
Wow.
Like this. And I'm like, what is that? Get away. Right? So I get up on the stage. I plug in the guitar because we're late. I plug in the guitar. I hit a chord, and the place explodes. I'm like, what the hell is going on? It's true. Roadrunner is big in Europe.
Yeah.
Right? So they knew every tune from the first chord all the way down. It was as good as being in the U.S., if not better. They knew everything.
Holy shit.
It was incredible.
Was that 95?
Whenever Scratch the Surface happened.
Okay.
Right? Because we were on that
That's
tour.
a great tour to be on, man.
Yeah. That's a great tour.
Wow. Did you guys almost do a Green Day tour too?
No.
Okay.
No, I wish.
Okay.
No, when Green Day happened, you could see the Black Train Jack shine dull. Because now this thing that we're doing that's kind of special is everywhere.
Got
You know what I mean? So, it's kind of they were doing it, and they were doing it damn well, and they were doing it really loud on the radio to everybody. So what we're doing is now, they're like that. As opposed to like something different from what I'm used to. It's exactly what I'm used to now. It's the thing,
Good point.
Same thing. Yeah, that happened to me with Gray Area too. But
So after Black Train Jack, Black Train Jack lasted how many years?
I think 5 or 6, and then we were on tour, and we couldn't sell. Like I was saying, we couldn't sell stuff off
That's
the
so
stage.
weird. That's like your tour. That's how you make money. It's your tour
all
support.
these kids come up to the stage and go, "We want to buy a record. We want to buy a record. Why don't you sell them?" I said, "Because they're not let us. Why don't you go to your store and sell them? They don't have it, right?" So there's like 20 kids that want to buy stuff, maybe more, right? So I said, "Where is this record store?" So we get in the van, we go to the record store,
Oh, shit.
And I go to the record store, and I go right up to Bad Religion, and I start flipping through, and I'm like, no Black Train Jack. No Black Train Jack here. So I go up to the guy, and I say, where's Black Train Jack? He goes, it's behind Biohazard in the metal section.
Oh, shit.
Because it's on Roadrunner.
Ah.
So I go to Biohazard, I flip through, and I reach Black Train Jack, and there's nothing in there. And I go, there's nothing in here. And he goes, yeah, we sold out. And I go, all right, cool. How many did you have? 3.
Oh, man.
3? I just played to 3,000 people.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was, 2,000 people. And you have 3, and we're not allowed to sell them?
That's fucked up.
So when I came back, I told my manager, I'll keep playing, but I'm not going on tour anymore if we can't sell stuff.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense,
So
right?
you're promoting the album, and so
For nothing.
and they can calculate the sales from the road anyway.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how it works. I'm not a businessman. That was Nick was for.
Wow.
So we stopped. I said, I'll play, and we played for a little while after that, but we weren't going to do full-time touring. And so once you do that, and you have lawyers and managers and all that stuff, then people start to drop off, and it loses steam.
Yeah.
And that's when I did Gray Area. And I said, when I do Gray Area, I'm telling you right now, I'm not touring.
Okay.
All do a week, 2 maximum.
What was the gap between that Black Train Jack and Gray Area?
It was from when all right, let me see. Black Train Jack ended not much because I would say, when did Rabies die?
97.
So it was about a year.
Okay.
No, it couldn't have been because I've never gone a day without being in a solid band. Maybe it was a little while. Maybe a little while. But the day that Rabies died, I was at his funeral, and that's where I met Vinny and Jay.
Okay.
And
wow.
And we said let's jam. So we started Gray Area. Not Jay, Vinny. Jay was there, but Jay wasn't in the original Gray Area.
Yeah.
So we did. I started with Vinny.
So you've been nonstop writing songs like your whole life.
My whole life, to this day.
And you have ideas all the time.
All the time.
Right.
It's something that it's hard to shut off.
And you sing, you play guitar, you play drums, you probably can play bass, right?
Oh yeah.
Piano, keyboards.
A little bit, not much. Not like
and
Arthur.
that's all self-trained.
Yeah,
Like
it's not like that's an interesting thing. I wish I could do this with other things in my life, but it's not like a thing that it even takes figuring out. It's like you put your finger on the string and you hit it, and you know if it's right or wrong. Then you do the next one, and the next one. Now I got it. It's as simple as that. There's dexterity that comes with practice, but as far as hearing it and knowing where it is, it just comes naturally.
Yeah, it's a totally different. Your love for music and for art too.
Yeah,
are those pretty much the same? For designing and all the stuff you do.
It's interesting. This is going to get a little bit deep, and
that's fine.
Might not interest your listeners.
No, man.
But when it comes to music, I can get away with knowing the bare minimum. So if I need to play a hardcore song, I got to learn how to play a hardcore song. That was my attitude with Brian. I'm going to teach you how to play these 5 songs. These are the only 5 songs you need to know. So just play these, right? So that was good. But in visual art, that doesn't sustain me. I got to know more. I got to know how, Caravaggio layered. I got to know how these things happened. Even though I'm not going to do it, I'm just going to do a gig poster for sick of it all. But I still need to know how that happened. I need to know how those layers happened. How did stuff like different artists throughout time, how did they get away with what they did? And how did they figure that out? That stuff interests me. I never said, let me figure out how Eddie Van Halen plays a lead. Could never care less.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I never had that instinct. I would just want to do what I did. But in visual art, I want to go way further, always. I don't know why.
Yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're still learning every day probably with that and with music.
And you can never stop learning.
Yeah.
You can never stop learning. Hardcore is an interesting thing, though, because there was a time where hardcore bands were expected to be bad, right? Like, I remember seeing, I don't remember what band he was in, but John Watson would play a white lefty Rickenbacker with 2 strings on it.
Wow.
And that was good. That was fine. In Your Face, Joe, he never had 6 strings. 5. That little one at the bottom, I'm never going to use it. That was his attitude, right? So this is the way you expect it to be. And then as bands got better and more, better at their craft, they became metal.
Got you.
And then that switched at one point.
Okay.
That switched at one point with like a lot of bands, but the one that always comes to mind is Kid Dynamite. How they were able to take the original formula for what hardcore was and play it to such a level of proficiency.
Got you.
That without becoming metal. That was great, man. Bad Brains were the original ones. Like, holy cow. You're never going to get metal out of them, but damn, these guys are good.
Yeah.
They're
one of the greatest.
Yeah. Bad Brains was in my heart.
First time seeing them?
In my heart, that's the first hardcore band.
Okay.
Yeah, they were the ones that said, let's go fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pay to Come, that was the first hardcore song.
And you remember seeing them for the first time?
I remember seeing them for the first time. I'm in that picture.
Oh, you are?
And that wasn't even the first time, but I'm in that picture. You know, when you open up Eye Against Eye?
Yep.
And Rabies and
Rabies.
Russell, I'm in the crowd.
Oh,
you can't tell it's me,
shit.
but I'm there. I can tell it's me. Yeah,
That was probably mind-blowing back then to see the backflips, all that stuff.
And the thing that not a lot of people know, that was a reunion gig.
Oh, shit. Okay.
They were gone for 5 or 6 years, and
Okay.
they came back to do that. It was explosive. And that was one of the Cro-Mag's earliest shows. PMS played that. That was monstrous.
Yeah, I saw that flyer today, actually, somewhere.
That was monstrous, yeah. We were there for that.
Wow.
Yeah. I
So-
saw the Misfits at Gildersleeves.
Oh, I heard.
Do you know what you heard of Gildersleeves?
Yeah,
It's a soup kitchen, I think, now. I'm not sure. It's
Wow.
right down the block from CB's. I saw Misfits there with the band that Moby was in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Vatican Commandos.
Vatican Commandos, and I remember who else. And Rosemary's Baby. Yeah.
It was scary back then, too, probably, right?
It was a hell of a lot scarier.
Because you were
yeah.
younger, too, yeah.
I was very little, very little. Oh, that's my first time meeting Ian.
Okay.
They played Gildersleeves, and we were all outside talking to Ian MacKaye, and blown away. This is Ian MacKaye.
It's MacKaye,
right?
by the
It's
way.
MacKaye. I know. I always say
I was with
MacKaye. I
him
don't know why.
yesterday.
Right? It's MacKaye. Yeah. Amanda reminded me of that 1,000 times. So it's MacKaye, and you're talking to him, and then we got to go, man. It's late. We got to go to school tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? And he goes, "Where you going?" And he says, "Well, by the time you guys go on, we got to be gone. We got to be out."
shit.
And he said, "What?" He went inside. He came back out, and he said, "We're going on first. All you guys can come in."
No fucking way,
So he did.
dude.
Minor Threat went on first, and we all saw them.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That sounds like something. After talking to him yesterday, that sounds exactly something he would do. It's fucking
Yeah.
awesome, man.
Yeah, he's done a million things like that, man.
Holy
A million things like-
shit.
When that first tour, I'll tell you this. That first tour, we were going from one city to one city, but we stopped by the 930 Club because maybe we were the Manda. And we stopped by the 930 Club, and we were in the van. And he came over to us, and he was talking to us, and we would tell him we're a band, we're on tour, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, "Are you playing tonight?" He goes, "No, why not?" And we're not on the bill. He goes, "Why not? You're here." So he went in, and we played with Soulside that day.
Holy shit.
Soulside and Agent Orange at the
Sick
930.
show, wow.
We had no business being on that bill, and he hooked it up.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing.
And he won't remember either of these. I bet you he won't remember either of these.
He's got a really good memory, though.
Maybe he will then. You want to hear a good memory?
Sure.
Remember that story I told you about Rollins with the quarters?
Yeah.
Okay, that was in, what year was that? You knew it. It was Marble Bar.
87.
Okay. You go into the 90s, maybe 97. He's doing spoken word.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he was doing spoken word at a place called The Building.
Okay.
Right? This is 10 years later. And right before he's about to go on a set, or maybe right after the set, there's a line of people that want to shake his hand. So I get on the line. Right? And when I make it up to him, I go up to him and I go to shake his hand. I said, "I know you're not going to remember me." And he goes, "Marble Bar, November 12th, 1987.
Holy shit.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, he was pointing out dates of every show
I couldn't
yesterday.
believe
Like,
it.
yeah.
But he just by looking at me 10 years later, knowing that,
fucking amazing.
and all I
man.
said is, "You're not going to remember me." And like that, he remembered. Wow. I can't do that.
He
I didn't
for
even know
me,
I
I
met
talked
how to
about him
come
yesterday.
from
He is like, if there's like a human being that represents in the dictionary the word punk or DIY or grassroots, it's him. Like, he's the epitome of all that, man. He encompasses all that still and preserved that whole life.
Henry?
He hates, no, Ian. He
Oh,
hates
oh.
the word lifestyle, but he preserved this whole way of thinking everything his whole entire life through everything that's been thrown at him from millions of dollars and record deals
Yeah.
and Lollapalooza and all this shit. He's just like, no, I don't need it.
I don't need
It's
it.
incredible, man.
Yeah.
It's just,
That's crazy.
and he's so humble and real and honest and like, it's incredible. I'm sure you met some people in your life that, I don't know if I should have met them. I
Cool.
had some people like that. I'm like, I wish I never met them. Keep them over there. But he's just one who's just like, he's just perfect. He's the perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Kevin Seconds is like that for me too. He's
Yeah.
like perfect everything you want him to be.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah, totally.
it's pretty amazing. Like we have these people that for me were kind of father figures, and for me, you look up to put them on this pedestal. Then you realize that later on in life they're like only a couple years older than you.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at them back then, you're like, holy shit! Like
That's exactly right. That's the way I saw Ian
Fuck.
MacKaye and his whole world. That Flex Your Head compilation. It was like, this is the world. This is what's smart. Everything else is stupid.
yeah,
And I didn't have to talk myself into that. That was my world.
Yeah.
I never in my life did I ever feel an ounce of peer pressure. Because if somebody came over to me and said, "Hey man, you want to take a toke out of this or whatever.
Quaalude.
I would see that as if they said to me, "Hey man, you want to go step in a pile of shit?"
Yeah.
It's the stupidest move. There's no coolness to it at all.
Yeah.
I didn't see any of it. It didn't make any sense to me, and that's because of that. I could have easily gone the other way.
Yeah. Did your brother party too, or no?
Not really.
No.
Not really. No.
So it wasn't really
Not
around
that I
you in
know.
your home life either and stuff like that either. So
Say again?
it wasn't around you in your home life either. Like
No.
drinking, none of
No
this-
way.
Yeah.
No way.
Were your parents kind of strict or no?
My parents were kind of strict, but then they were very, very trusting.
Like go to the city, go to a punk show. At
Yeah,
fucking 14.
they were very trusting. They trusted me to not do anything. So as a natural return to that, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, I was trusted, so I'm not gonna screw it up.
I
You know?
love that, man.
Yeah, I was always trusted. And I never did anything that would betray a trust like that. I mean, I've done some crazy things, but nothing drug or alcohol.
Yeah, you weren't like a wild kid or nothing like
Nah,
that.
hell no, man. Hell no. I'm a like you said, like I have an energy. I'm like a nice guy.
Yeah.
I'm not a hardcore guy.
Well, you're high on life. You've always been very energetic. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you have
I
this-
try to be. You know?
Yeah, even when you get older,
don't-
I feel like having kids too, they keep you young too, and they give you that extra energy. You know?
Yeah, they do. They
And
definitely do, especially when they're young.
Yeah.
When they're really young, it's like when you realize, wow, it makes me feel young.
Do you feel like you use a lot of the punk ethics that you learned growing up as a father? Like some of the stuff you learned, just the way you see the world, the way like you raise
Yes, I
kids?
definitely do. Like the one of the things that the as you called it, punk ethic that I try to instill in my kids is to be accepting of everything.
Me too.
Every last thing.
Yes.
And it's not very difficult because I don't have to talk them out of anything. It's like it's not like they weren't and I'm trying to talk them into it.
Yeah.
This is the way they've been. My kids have never had beef.
Wow,
So,
my son either. Yeah.
Yeah, so
awesome.
like or a Coke or anything like that. So
Wow.
So this is the way. You know what I mean? Like there is no other way that I'm trying to talk you out of. When you get older, then you make your own decisions. But this
Exactly.
is the way you were raised.
Yeah, my son's never had me. He's raised that way. He's the only kid out of his whole group of friends who's straight edge in the school, but they all love and respect him. He's kind of outgoing like I was. He's a skateboarder. You know what I mean? So that we have this really good communication, talk a lot, like you said, and we fully trust him. He talks to us all day long. And like I said, for you, that trust from your parents that was instilled in you made you want to be a good kid, not want to fuck up, because your parents trust you to go to the city and go to fucking punk shows. It looked like a total
At 13.
scary place.
Yeah.
Scary
It was
place
a
to go
scary
to.
place. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember one time my dad used to belong to a lodge,
Okay.
like a club, right? And it was on 11th Street. It was what Webster Hall is now,
Okay.
right? So
Awesome.
we were playing at A7 really late at night one night, and we just happened to be playing with Government Issue.
Sick.
I think it was Government Issue.
Rest in peace,
But
John
it
Stout.
was a straight edge gig,
Okay.
right? I think it was Government Issue, and he came to Avenue A and 7th Street to see what was going on, and he saw everybody outside. Everybody looked funny. Everybody had weird haircuts, but no one was smoking. So he walked away and said, "Okay, it's all right."
Checked up
That
on you.
one time. It was a
That's
straight edge
amazing,
gig.
though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy shit. I asked Timmy this too, and I was really surprised by this, but did your parents come see any of your bands?
No.
Wow.
No. It just was.
That's real trust.
It just never occurred to me.
Is it a
You know what I mean?
Queens thing? I don't know, because
never
like,
occurred
no,
to
my parents never came. Like, holy shit.
Yeah. It never occurred to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
They knew you were out there playing some wild music, but yeah, it's that fun. And
Whatever. Yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah.
So let's get to Gray Area. So Gray Area comes after Black Train Jack.
Right.
That's another amazing band. How long did that last for?
That lasted from 95 to 2002.
Okay, that's
95 to 2002 maybe. Yeah. And that was great too. But then we went with Victory.
Oh
And
shit.
they were a good label too, but we didn't really full on tour. We did 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there, but not full on touring.
Yeah.
A week here, a week every weekend. But that was great though. That was another band that was really good. And then another one that kind of took off from the beginning. Not like Black Train Jack, not even close, but it took off from the beginning. We had a nice following, and then I don't remember. I was thinking about it on the way up here. Why did we stop the first time? But we stopped for some reason. Another thing that would happen was we did almost 80% of the gigs we did were with Kid Dynamite.
Okay.
So I got to see that every day. They would just blow the doors out every single night. I've never
Wow.
seen a band that was more an example of being equaling more than the sum of your parts than those guys. That band
Gotcha.
was brutal in every single way. And no matter how good you thought you weren't that good.
Wow.
And I remember the first time they played, the first time that they played was at Tramps, was it?
Yeah, Tramps was spot. Yeah.
The first time played in New York, and I was playing the drums in Craig's band, Creep Division.
Creep Division, yeah.
Right? And I didn't make it in time to see them.
Oh, shit.
But everybody was saying, that band was incredible. Everybody was saying it. But they played so early that only a few people said it.
Gotcha.
And that worked to their advantage because so many people were saying it that now you got to find out who these guys were.
You go see them, yeah, word of mouth.
You could never live up to the hype that they gave. But boy, did they live up to that hype.
Yeah,
that was an incredible band.
Did they ever do a reunion, Kid Dynamite?
Yeah, they do reunions. They did them every once in a while in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
I got them to do one for CBGB, Save CBGB.
Oh, nice.
And they never played CBs.
They never did?
Busted it down. They did that
I'm
night.
sure.
They busted it down. They were just insane. They were so good, man.
They were a great band. They were definitely had a little GB influence, right?
The first album was GB influence.
Yeah.
But then, wow, they were incredible.
What I love about you is that you, the whole time through all you being a musician, you've always held down like a real job, a freaking teacher, all the art you're doing. I always love that. Because I don't have. I mean, a lot of people chose just to go for it, maybe, or not have a plan B, or C, or D.
Yeah.
And you always had that, and I always loved and respected that. I think it's awesome.
Thank you.
You can play music and come back to your regular life and all that shit. And
just like I said, it wasn't a plan A, B, or C.
Yeah.
It was plan 1, if you want. It was a number. I never planned to make a living doing this.
Yeah.
Never crossed my mind.
It's crazy.
You know?
But you made some money, I'm sure.
No. Nothing. Zero. And sometimes Jay will send me a check from Victory, and I'm literally $1.60.
Wow.
That's we got nothing. We wouldn't make money.
And what do you think it was about not wanting to like just go for it and just try to do it? It was never really interested you.
It never really interested me. Like I was told, like Black Train Jack got damn close. We did MTV stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
We did big tours. We did this, and we were told this is going to be big. This is going to be big.
Wow.
Not if we can't sell records. You know? Not if every time we go on tour, the people are screaming for the record and we can't sell it. It was
that's super frustrating. It makes this crazy to me that it happened like that.
Yeah. Well, that's the way I remember it. Again, this is just my memory. You know.
Yeah. It's crazy. So, what are you working on now musically?
Well, right now what happened was after I did Gray Area, I did a bunch of little things, like I did Higher Giant, and I did a bunch of other little bands.
Yeah, I got some written down here too.
And then after that, I stopped for a little while because my kids were getting to a certain age.
Yeah.
I don't want to say because, but that's just kind of what took my attention away.
Arsons too, right?
Arsons, I did 3 albums with the Arsons. And then but I still have a lot of material.
Yeah.
So I'm planning on getting back together with a bunch of guys and recording it.
Yeah, then Hellgate Industries, what you do now is making posters.
Yeah, that I've been doing for
really
almost 10 years now. 9 years.
10 years?
Let me see. The first one was Sam I Am and Walter Schreifels. It was in 2011.
I have one framed in my house. If anybody's seen that Straight Edge Santa one, that shit's it's an amazing one you did for us that one show. If you see all the posts, I know you did a Blink one recently too.
Yep.
If you see his posters out there, it's Ernie been doing this, and he's been doing art from the beginning through all the records he's been on too, and like
that's because of Sean Taggart. Sean Taggart blew me away, man.
Big influence on you.
But when that
Cause for Alarm?
Cause for Alarm, man. That hung on my wall for many, many years. That is like a masterpiece to me. I love that. The energy, the movement in that. It was crazy.
He just did the new Agnostic Front one
He
too.
just did the new Agnostic
It's
Front
awesome.
one
I saw it the other time.
Yeah.
So he's like one of your influences as far as
that was a major influence on my style. If you look at I posted it the other day on Instagram. If you look at the back cover of the first Black Train Jack album, and you look at the front cover of Cause for Alarm, you could see the influence very quickly.
What about the guy who did Walk Together, Rock Together? He's awesome too.
Yeah, he's good too.
Yeah, I don't know the guy.
I don't know who he is, but he was very good too.
Yeah.
And then of course some other people that always blew me away was the girl that did, I can't remember her name right now, it just flew out of my head, the girl that did the Circle Jerks logo.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember her name
That's
right
fucking
now.
incredible. That's right. I know he
beautiful.
talks about her.
It's so fluid, the way that it moves. You
yeah.
know?
You never got tattoos. That's pretty awesome.
No. I've always planned on it, but I never got around to it.
You think you're going to get one?
Yeah, maybe.
Get one in your 50s. That's
when I get older.
Crazy. That's so crazy to start in your 50s to get tattooed. There's a lot of people. I think Craig just has one in his lip. Armand has one in his lip. Nothing on their bodies.
Yeah.
They made it through that. It's kind of cool if you made it through this whole entire crazy scene and not having one.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
I mean, I don't know how cool it is, but it never, you know, I don't like needles for one, and for two, it's like I don't know, whatever I do, I'm going to regret it later. Whatever I do, unless I'm like you and I'm completely covered.
It's like fuck it, look like a mess anyway.
Whatever it is.
So you regret it. Let's get one of my questions asked. You have any regrets? Is there any regrets you could talk about?
Oh,
and you said you had a lot, but I mean,
my God, I got so many regrets.
Are they music ones or no?
I should never have left art and design, high school.
Okay. And then your license run out.
I should never have let my license run out. I could have been a teacher.
Fuck.
Yeah, these are things I regret.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could have fixed them, but whatever, man. You know,
living.
Life goes on. I did fine in other ways.
Yeah,
in every other way.
Yeah. I respect that. I respect you can play your music and go back to normal life and have that balance, have that security.
Yeah.
You know, it's awesome.
For a long time, I was coming out here to be in a band called In Your Face.
Yeah.
And that was probably the favorite band.
Wow.
Because that was always fun.
Just fun. No business, none of that shit.
No business, no nothing. That, like we would go to gigs in Albany, and we would get to the place, and the place would be closed. It was canceled, and we're in Albany, and we would just laugh it off and go spend the rest of the day in the ball pit.
Like you said, yeah,
in the ball pit at the Chuck E. Cheese. We didn't care. It was just fun all the time. Business never got in the way. It was always a blast. I used to come all the way out here to practice every weekend.
That's awesome. And that's just for the fun of it, and that's
just for the fun of it. It was pure. It was pure. I was in college. I had a little Volkswagen Rabbit, and I used to come out here. That's the car I sold to Chunks.
Yeah.
And and when he got his license, and it was great, man. It was great. That was pure fun.
Would you ever do a Black Train Jack reunion?
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
I would do a Black Train Jack reunion anytime. No problem with that.
Gray area.
Gray area, but we will do one some.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will do it again. Token Entry, we have been doing it.
You have, right?
But the one that I'm interested in now is the Gilligan's Revenge reunions. That was really good. We did one at A7.
Oh shit! Okay.
It's really weird.
Oh, recently,
man.
right?
Yeah, we just did one.
How was it?
About 1,000 times better than I expected.
Okay.
I thought that it was going to be empty and no one would know anything, and it was not. And a lot of people
know the history now. People know about.
Yeah, it's a historical thing now.
It is.
You want to know what's going on.
A lot of the new kids and the new bands too. Like they know all like the roots of stuff, which is really awesome. I mean, I thank the internet for that too. It's easy to just Google a band and find the whole history.
But there's a lot of that stuff is not findable. You know.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get, like, say for instance, The Abused. Is The Abused on Spotify?
The Abused, probably not.
No, right? I think The Mob is. Urban Waste is, but I don't know, like other bands at that time, Citizens Arrest. Like, can you find that stuff on? Like, there was a band called Borscht.
Borscht, I remember that name. Yeah.
I wonder if you could find that. You know, like, who knows?
What would be your top influences for being a musician?
My top influence. This is going to be a surprise. I started out playing the drums because I had a brother that literally, this is how long, I was a little kid, and I started playing the drums because I didn't want to be a copycat of my brother. That's why I started playing drums. And I played the drums, and my biggest influence as a drummer was John Bonham.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
To me, that's the top end of drumming.
Yeah.
You don't need to go much faster, and you don't need to do much fancier, but you got to hit it that hard.
Yeah.
Right? And that's it. But when I started writing material like Antidote, I wasn't a guitarist when I wrote Antidote. I just had a melody in my head, and I picked up the guitar and went like this with one finger.
Awesome.
And that's how that song came to be, or Detention, or any of the early songs.
Yeah.
And the influence for me at that time was Johnny Thunders.
Awesome.
I was a big New York Dolls fan.
Awesome.
And New York Dolls, Heartbreakers, and the Ramones. Anybody can play that stuff. And that makes you feel like, I can do this. It's not like I'm listening to, The Who or Alice Cooper or something like it. This is like educated and expert. No, anybody can play this. I can do this.
Yeah.
This puts it on my level. It makes it accessible to me, a little kid in my room.
Awesome.
That was my influence.
Okay, it's the number ones.
Yeah, that's it. The Ramones, Johnny Thunders, Dead Boys, like that. I was like, I can do that.
That's awesome. I mean, Ramones are like, I talked to Milo last week, and I was saying, like, I hate the word pop punk, but like Ramones had the melodies, but I feel like Descendants was one of to bring that melody into punk rock. You know what I mean? And Ramones had the melodic sound and kind of a doo-wop vibe maybe to them. But as far as like bringing the melody in, I would give Descendants a lot of credit too.
Oh my God.
For back then, you know?
Descendants was a massive, massive influence on me. Massive. but not from a specific instrument.
Yeah.
Just like musical style. Descendants and Dag Nasty and 7 Seconds. That
yeah.
world for me was the best. And I remember when we played, when Descendants was coming around, I got that call from Hilly. Do you want to play? And we played with Descendants. This was Token Entry. We just changed the name to Token Entry. Anthony was still in the band, and they were playing, and I wanted to be there for the sound check, and I was like, oh my God, there they are, and I remember, they were just great, man. It was packed, and it was so long ago, and then just to see them do that and be that tight and that perfect in every song, and they were singing songs about love and getting married and
farts, everything,
and all this stuff that
coffee,
coffee, but like they had songs called Marriage, and like it was like I wouldn't go there, you know what I mean? It's like it's so, but
parents, all that,
but parents and all that stuff, and it was refreshing, you know what I mean? It was really great. Dag Nasty was a thing to behold because Brian Baker's insane. That guy can play, man.
Amazing guitar player, man.
But see Dag Nasty, and we played with Dag Nasty a lot.
Yeah.
Both with Smalley and
Peter,
right?
Yeah. Field Day's out now. It's incredible with him and Doug. It's amazing. It's called Field Day. They're touring right now.
No kidding.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Oh wow, I didn't know.
It's really good. They're playing those records, and I saw them in LA. It just sounds perfect. Like,
wow.
Those are great
That's
records.
great.
I love those records. I loved when people kind of bugged out when it went from Can I Say to Wig Out and Feel That. I loved all those records together, just like I loved when 7 Seconds. New One's like my favorite record, I think. And then Soul Force, Ourselves, Praise. I loved all it when they started getting real melodic, man.
Praise is the missing one. Not a lot of people know about that one. And
EP,
that song, man. That was a great time for 7 Seconds.
Man.
It was not hardcore, but that was a great time.
But I appreciate it because I heard the crew walked together. I love those records, but then when he started changing, they made me open-minded to check out U2 and listen to other types of music because I was just in my punk rock hardcore world. I'm like, holy shit, this guy's Kevin has long hair now. They talk about U2. I'm like, holy shit, Sunday Bloody Sunday. Yeah, it totally opened my eyes to a lot of music.
A lot of other stuff. Yeah, gets you moving on the other way. And then I became a Madonna fan.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. All that. But it's like, they let me come out of my shell, I guess. But I was, 7 Seconds. I mean, that New One record, like, Man Enough to Care, talking about a dad being, like, so, like, manly with his son. Now, I didn't even have a fucking father growing up, and I wasn't even thinking about being a dad, but that song really connected with me, Man Enough to Care, because nobody in hardcore was singing about that kind of shit, man.
Trust is the one that caught me.
Trust,
like, damn, what a great song.
Yeah.
What a great tune. And they used to do it differently live. They used to put a different spin on it, but it was great, man. I love them. And then Praise, that was when Token Entry was with them. You know, or was it Token? Whatever band I was in at the time was with them at that point. And that song, it was great, man. On the screen. I know it right now, man.
It's crazy because you didn't really set out to be like first of all, a singer, then a drummer.
No.
You do everything. It's pretty amazing that you're the man kind of behind all these magical records.
Thank
people
you.
know, but they can look at the credits on the records and see that stuff, but like, it's usually not the drummer that's writing the stuff, or I don't know. No,
that's true. That's true. But you know, after a while you get trusted, and then the guys and your family expands.
Yeah.
Right. So it was me, Chunks, and 2 other guys, and Johnny, and whoever else was Arthur, and then it expands, and you meet Rob and Brian, and then you meet this guy, and that guy, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's how it happens, and more people trust you, and they believe you, and then when Black Train Jack happened, that's when it really came out of the shell, because at this point that's my job, is writing material. Yeah. Everybody else has a job, but material writing is me.
Yeah.
You know, like I asked Brian, why didn't you, when I was listening to your podcast, I said, why didn't you say X or Y? And he goes, dude, the music stuff, you talk about that.
Yeah, his memory was kind of, shout out to Brian, I love you. Like, a lot of the questions, like, I don't remember that. But like, you all have your own perspective. I talked to Rob too about things you remember and things you don't from that time, but.
You know what Rob could do?
What?
Rob could drive, no joke, 24 hours, maybe more. Yeah. He could sit there in the bus.
Well, I became a bus driver.
And drive without blinking. Like, it's
amazing.
Like unbelievable. I would fall asleep, wake up, live an entire day, and go back to bed, and he didn't get out of the chair yet.
Wow.
He was powerful when he
he's perfect what he did for his job after that?
Yeah, it was perfect for that, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember we had this short little Black Train Jack bus.
We bought this little school bus.
It was awesome.
And we built the Maddie.
It was blue.
And we built these. No, it was yellow. It was
Oh,
yellow.
was it? Okay.
It was a real everyday school bus.
Okay.
No, the blue one was the Souls.
Got you.
The Souls had a blue one. We had
Maddie, who? Dirty Maddie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
he was still is my closest friend.
Okay.
So we had this we built this lofts in the back where the equipment would go on the first level. Rob, Brian, and Jay Bird would go on the second level, and me, Matt, and Nick on the top level. And you would sleep, and the ceiling would be right here, right here.
Claustrophobic. That's
So
crazy.
scary. And then Jim Norton would be driving the bus.
Jim Norton, yeah.
Yeah.
Jim Norton works at a venue in Jersey now, I think. I ran into him.
Yes, he's back in doing it, but
Yeah,
he's got himself a
recently.
real job too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah,
so-
that was like one of the first kind of like buses I've seen the band use.
We got it real cheap. Rob's brother welded on like the bars so you couldn't break the window.
Wow.
You could open the door and the stop sign would come out. It was cool,
I remember another state of mind, they had a real school bus.
They had a real school bus. Yeah.
That was crazy.
I remember when that tour came to New York.
And we came to, you saw that tour?
I don't remember if I saw the gig, but I remember when it came to New York. Let me think. No. It was at CBGB's, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I was at that one. Did they play anywhere else?
How?
Because I saw Social Distortion a million times.
That was such an amazing movie. That was another state of mind.
Are you hip to the book, the Karen O'Sullivan book?
It came out. What's it called?
It's called Somewhere Below 14th and East.
Is it new?
It's coming out right now. It's in pre-order. You know who Karen O'Sullivan is?
I know the name, yeah.
Karen O'Sullivan was like BJ, photographer of hardcore, but from the beginning, man, going way back. And she was, she's like ill now. And my brother went into her garage, got all these canisters of film, developed them all, and put out a book.
Oh shit! Okay, I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah,
wow,
you check it out.
Crazy.
So you go and you check that out, and you'll see like there's shots of that tour, like the bus, the state of mind outside of CBGB's.
It's called Below 14th.
Below 14th and East, I think it's called.
It's a cool name.
Yeah.
This question I know the answer to because I know you for a long time. Are you optimistic or pessimistic?
I am always optimistic.
Yeah, you've always been like that.
Always optimistic. I'm let's clarify that. I'm optimistic about things I can control.
Gotcha.
I become more pessimistic when they're things out of my control.
Yeah.
Unless they're things that are so far out of my control that whatever. Like I don't fear terrorist attacks. If it happens, what am I going to do? I can't worry about it. You know what I mean? Like that I don't fear. But they're if it's out of my control, I become a little more pessimistic. Like this is going to get screwed up. This is going to get I can do that.
Yeah.
But most things I'm optimistic. Yeah.
You've always been like that.
Guy, yeah.
Always been positive, outgoing.
Positive came easy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like with Kevin Second's blood type.
100% be positive.
Be positive.
Do you have any daily rituals you do?
It's crazy that everybody's heard that joke.
Yes, they have. Be positive. What do you have any daily rituals? Do you work out? You do yoga? Like, what's your day?
I would love to do yoga. I just don't have time.
Yeah, I never did.
What I do is I get up in the morning, and I ride my bike into work. So
that's awesome.
Over the 59th Street Bridge. So I go
in the winter too.
Until it gets so cold.
Wow.
I am a cold one, but I cannot stand the cold.
I hate this shit.
I can ride in 105, but I can't ride in 35.
Okay.
Right. So I go all the way from Astoria all the way up to Long Island City, then over the 59th Street Bridge, and then into the city. Every day. That I do. I've been doing it for years.
That's awesome.
Once in a while, I'll take the train. Like if I screwed something up. Like I got to ship out 3 cases of posters. Now I got to drive to the UPS joint to ship them out. Now I can't ride.
That keeps you pretty busy though. The Hellgate stuff now, right?
Holy cow, man!
And that's all you. Total DIY is all you.
That's just me.
I love that.
That's just me in my garage, and it's when Rancid is on fire.
Yep.
Or when Brian Fallon is on fire. Or when Fu Manchu is on fire, or now Sick of It All. Like, yeah, they keep you busy, man.
That's really cool, man.
Keep you busy.
And where do you print this stuff at?
In my basement.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you designed it, sent it to your printers. You do it all there?
No, man.
Holy shit, that's so DIY.
I buy the paper. I built a vacuum table out of the wood from Home Depot.
Holy shit, man,
the
that's
whole
amazing,
thing
man.
is done in my. I do it.
Wow. That's the epitome of DIY.
Well,
it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, I wish I could rent a place to do it and not do it in my garage. But if I did, then it wouldn't be able to afford itself.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make much money, but it is a blast. I love doing it.
Yeah, you love doing it. It's like a passion.
And in the beginning, I used to go to the gig and sit at the merch table.
Yeah.
I used to sell them for the band.
I remember that. Yes, I do.
That was, and I got to give a shout out to Jake because he's the one who hooked me up, man.
Jake rocks off. We love you, man.
He used to hook me up so much, man. I used to just call him up and say, "Can you get me this guy's number? Can you hook it up?" And he would hook up the poster. The first one was Sam I Am. I did the Sam I Am poster, and I called those guys up, right? And I said, listen, you coming to New York? Do you mind if I do a poster? Like, and it happens all around the country.
I'm the New York guy.
But it didn't happen in New York. You know, no one did posters. We were a flyer country.
Yeah.
With Xerox, right, in the 80s. But no one did posters. So I said, do you mind if I do one here? And the guy said, well, his answer was, I got no one to sell shirts. I said, I'll sell them. He said, if you sell them, you can do whatever you want. So I made 20 of them. It took me, I made 60 and got 20 good ones. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what to sell them for, so I was selling them for $10. And I didn't want to sign them because I felt that was pretentious. Like, who am I to sign them? So the kid that was selling shirts for the band next to me, the band was called Model Home.
Okay.
And he was saying, or she was saying, it was girls selling the shirts, I think. And she was saying, you're not selling these for enough. I think I am. But the band hasn't played and you're almost sold out. I only had 20.
Damn.
And it's still sound check and they were going, right?
Yeah.
So I said, well, I don't know how much to sell them for. And then right at this moment, some girl comes up and says, well, she was hearing the conversation. She goes, my boyfriend just gave me $50 and said that should get you 2.
Oh, shit.
So I said, all right, well, $20.
Yeah, man.
And that's how I set the price for the average everyday
Yeah,
poster. Unless it's a real tough one to do, then I get it.
Yeah, that's a normal price. That's a really good price.
Right, $20. And then the second poster I did was with Sick of It All.
Okay.
Right, and Armand said to me, he laid out my business plan. He said, "You do this yourself? You do this? I can't do the Armand voice like everybody else can. I can't. You do this yourself? Yeah. You design it? Yeah. You buy the paper? Yeah. You buy the ink? Yeah. You deserve half."
Totally, man.
That's what he did.
I agree.
So from that point on, what I do is I print the posters, I give the band half, and I keep half.
That's smart, man.
Yeah.
And the posters are great too, and people love limited stuff. People like collecting stuff. You sign them now, right? With the name at the bottom or no?
Now I sign and number them because people flip out.
They love being numbered. They
want to know the number. Yeah. So they want to know which one I got, and people send me emails. Can you please send me that? But I don't know.
What number?
I roll it and I put it in a tube, and out it goes. You know.
Limited for 100 or something or no?
They're always limited.
Okay.
So it's. I try to gauge it. Like if it's Rancid, there's like almost no limit. You know. But they're powerful band.
Powerful.
You
band.
know, and
Were you a fan too?
Rancid?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
They're one of my favorite
I'm going to go on
bands.
record saying I think that album,
Out
Come the Wolves, is one of the top 10 punk rock records ever.
Agreed.
And
They're
I'm
my
going
top
back.
5.
I'm going back to the Ramones, Clash, Dead Boys, Rancid.
I agree 100%. I've said it all the time. My
go.
top 5
There you go.
records. It's a perfect album front to back, man.
And I'm going to go perfect album. And I'm going to go on record to say that Machete is one of the top 10 hardcore songs of all time. That's me.
Okay.
Sick of It All's Machete. It's such a brutal tune.
Okay.
The way it's constructed, it's got 3 distinct parts.
Yeah.
And the way it slows down at the end. I wrote a song about that song.
Oh,
I was in
shit.
traffic once on the 59th Street Bridge. And I was like, not 59th, it was Williamsburg. And I was so pissed off. Just move. And that song was on. I was like getting me angrier and angrier. I was like, this is actually dangerous. It's pissing. I'm going to kill somebody.
Damn.
That was such a great tune.
You're not even a violent person either.
No.
Just get rage, road rage.
Nah, I don't get no road
I put Everything Sucks in one of my tops too. Descendants, Everything Sucks.
I'm glad to hear you say that. Because a lot of people will say, nah, the early stuff was better. I think
That shit is
Everything
perfect.
Sucks is really
It's the craziest
perfect
comeback
album.
record ever in the history of punk.
Yeah,
It just,
It's an incredible record.
The melody,
And you think
everything.
you'd always think that in the genre of punk rock, the first stuff is the best stuff. Not so.
I mean, I love all the records, but
Yeah.
that record in particular is like,
Everything Sucks. Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
it's the melody, just everything about that is pure. I don't know, man. That one and Rancid are definitely in my top.
Totally.
What about hip hop? You ever like hip hop stuff?
Tim tried to get me into like the early stuff, like Run DMC and LL Cool J and stuff like that. It just didn't work for me because no one's playing the guitar, no one is singing.
Except the Aerosmith one with Run DMC.
Oh, Run DMC,
yeah.
But even that, man.
So never hip hop for you, huh? Wow.
And then hip hop was never my bag.
What about pop music, like
Graffiti
Coldplay?
was.
You like Coldplay?
No.
Okay.
No, man, that's not my bag.
Yo, people listen and love this because they know it's my favorite band.
That's not my bag. No.
It's not my
Coldplay?
bag. I
No.
love them so much,
No,
man.
man.
What about you
See,
too?
I grew up at a time. Now this is someone that you got to talk to the older dudes. If it was on the radio, it was not allowed.
Yeah, yeah.
It was above the line. It wasn't underground. It was. That's a stupid way to think because the Clash was on the radio all the time. But it just was the way that I don't know. That's the way that I was.
So no U2?
I mean, I can appreciate you too, but it's not my bag.
Stones?
You know.
Wow.
Black
Sabbath?
If you're going to go into the world of British rock, Stones don't, for me, get close to Sabbath or Zeppelin or Queen or, go down the line.
No, Oasis?
Oasis I liked for a little while because I saw the behind the music.
I've seen that too.
That was pretty cool. Those guys are pretty cool. But again, I don't own a record or anything.
Yeah.
Nah, it's not my bag. I like this game. Keep going. Give me another one.
Madonna?
I don't know anything. Madonna to me is the one from Queen. It's like the one from Queens. What was her name?
I don't know.
Yeah, the one with the really thick Queensy accent.
Cyndi Lauper?
Girls just want to have fun. Yeah.
Dude, Cyndi Lauper's amazing, no?
Yeah, I know. She's a great singer, but that's not my bag, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? You can guess what my favorite Dave Vision song is. My favorite Vision song is.
Vision?
Yeah.
What is it?
Close Mind.
Close Mind?
If it ain't punk, if it doesn't have like a certain underground element to it, if it doesn't have that sort of thing, it just doesn't work for I don't know.
And your whole entire life, even in your 50s now, it's the same way.
Same thing. Yeah.
Wow.
Same thing, man. Like I've always been that way. Always. Like I told you, like I would never drink a beer until someone tells me this guy made it that I know, and I'm like, well, something that interests me. You know what I mean? Like like if I find out that a poster I bought or a poster I saw is really cool isn't a silkscreen, I don't want it. I don't want a poster that came out of a computer.
Because you know how it's been made, because you do it.
It's got to be real. It's got to be real. You know what I mean? Like Queen, on one of their albums, it says Queen has never used synthesizers to this point.
Wow.
That was the coolest thing in the world. Like,
yeah.
And like, play instruments. Do it as cool as you can. Do crazy things. But come on, keep it real.
Yeah. So what would be, all right, so I got to go on stage in 20 minutes, but what would be your perspective now and everything you've been through as a musician, everything in the scene, and you've been a powerful impact of the hardcore history of New York that's expanded worldwide. You've been influenced so many people with all the music you've been involved in. Looking back on it now, how do you see, it's a hard question to say, what do you think of hardcore now? Because are you listening to new things, new bands?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, hardcore now can get really, really proficient, really without being metal. Yeah. There's a band that I never did anything for them yet, but I want to. It's a band called Pears.
I heard their name.
Oh my God.
We played with them in Europe. They're awesome. That's right.
How do you get that good?
Okay, Pears, you're right.
I mean, you don't even have to like them, but you cannot say they're not good.
Are they from Virginia?
Holy cow. I think they're from, no. Yeah, Virginia, maybe.
Yeah, we played with them in Europe. They're awesome.
Maybe.
I heard of Pears.
No, I don't remember where they're from. Okay. Sorry. I want to say.
So that's a new band you're
listening
to.
Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I listened to them. Those guys are great, man. I was into the Bronx for a long time.
Yeah.
Like to be that good, like the Bronx, man, they're good. They're just really good. I'm kind of into these new guys. This new thing on Roadrunner, Turnstile.
Fucking love Turnstile.
Yeah, man.
Love. You ever seen them live?
No, I haven't.
Fucking amazing live. So much positive energy. Great kids. I like all the melodies. I like all the different influences they infuse together. 100% back them.
Yeah.
Love them, and they're killing it.
They're killing it.
Yeah, they're killing it. Yeah, man. They're doing really well.
And they record in an interesting way, right? So it's like a lot of reverbs. Okay. And a lot of empty spots. It reminds me of like the early Leeway. They'll play a riff and then stop.
I think they'd appreciate that.
And then go back into another riff and then stop.
Yeah.
Like take a pause and it just sets up this go. You know, like they
Have you seen any of their videos?
No.
You should check out some videos from their albums. They're really interesting, cool videos.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
I back them. That's a one. Adam loves them too. Like, if you see them live, it's just such a good vibe, man. It's really.
Yeah, I want to see them live.
Yeah, they're great. They're doing really well.
Yeah, they're good.
Fuck, we covered a lot of shit. Let me see all my notes in here.
You got notes?
No, I mean, I have to have all my notes, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man, we did a lot. We talked for an hour and 34 minutes.
You're kidding.
But we're usually doing these podcasts, especially with this one because I play in 20 minutes. But I'll go home and listen to it, then I'll think of other things that maybe we missed or not. Maybe I even send it to you. I like to get on the phone later and do like a phone call at the end.
Yeah, give me a call.
I've done that with everybody. Like, hey, one more thing. Like, I'm doing that Milo next week. Just because it's hard when we get in the mode. I don't like to ask questions like, hey, the next question. I like to ask you something, you flow, and that's how this podcast goes. We're just talking. You know, we're talking stories, and like, you have great stories. I'm sure he missed some stories, but like, Rob and Brian said, get ready. Ernie's got stories. I mean,
They
you
did?
yeah, man.
They
You hear a
did?
lot of stories. You
I'm
keep around
forgetting
for
a lot of
long
them,
time.
man. They got to come up, you know. Yeah, I got a lot of stories, but they got to come up. You can't just like spit them out. Like
Yeah.
that Rollins one that came up,
Yeah.
you know.
I'm sure you think of some more you might have missed.
I hate to mention other people's names because I'm afraid that they're going to go, I don't remember that.
There's no way.
But I do.
Well, first of all, Rollins is not listening to this podcast as much as I want him to. So Rollins, if any of your friends are listening, yes, I'd love to have you on the podcast. But I'm sure he's not going to remember that story. But you remember. You have a good memory of that. So that's like.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I remember
clearly,
Ian
'cause
with
he
the
blew me
long
away.
curly hair.
Yeah.
With the long curly hair then
Yeah.
too. It was like.
Yeah, he was there, and
One thing I didn't
Kevin.
know about you is that you didn't try anything your whole life until you're 30. That's amazing. They're like
Try
you were impacted at a young age by Minor Threat and all that. It's pretty awesome.
Holy cow, that set the tone of my life.
Did you like Sex Pistols album? Never mind the
Oh my
Bullets?
God, totally. But you see, I love that Sex Pistols album.
Yeah.
All the Sex Pistols stuff.
Yeah.
But that album, the way it's recorded, is magical to me. That recording, that guitar sound is out of this world. How the hell do they do that? That's what I want to get on the next record. I want to do something along that line.
Yeah, it's a perfect. That's a perfect record too.
But Sex Pistols were never the Ramones to me.
No,
You know.
I didn't know what a bollocks
To be honest,
was.
neither were the Clash. You know, neither were the Clash. The Ramones were kings.
Well, they were from they were from here. They were from.
And I heard it first.
Yeah.
You know, and that was something that I heard when I was still in grammar school. You know.
Yeah.
A long time ago, and I never went like most guys I know now. They discovered the Cro-Mags after being into whatever they were into, Iron Maiden or whatever the like, metal stuff. I don't know any of that either.
Yeah.
Right. I never went through that phase.
Yeah.
I don't know any Iron Maiden.
Neither do I. I know.
Or I met King Diamond.
Wow.
But that's only because it was on Roadrunner.
Merciful Fate. Yeah.
Yeah, and Merciful Fate, they had that when he sings real high pitched, and I painted that jacket a million times. Like that thing. That's another thing I used to do when I was a kid.
You painted those jean jackets.
Yeah.
The Token ones and the jacks.
Back in the graffiti days, there's still a place on Steinway Street in Astoria called Yogi Lala.
Okay.
And they used to have Kane One, and I think Pink did it. Big graffiti names. We used to go there and used to order a jacket, give them the jean jacket, give them an album cover, whatever you want, and they would paint it.
Wow.
And that was a big deal when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And this is going back a while, man. And I did that for years, man. I did the Jack's jackets for the skateboard guys.
Yeah.
I did a Black Train Jack one, a Token Entry one.
Yeah.
That I gave to one of the guys in Verbal Abuse for hooking us up. Oh, it was a New York Dolls one.
I remember you guys wore those in D.C. when I saw the show. You had the jean jackets on the cutoffs.
Yeah, that was years
That was
ago.
such a cool thing. Nobody was doing that back then.
No one
Really.
does it now.
Yeah.
No one does it now.
Well, breakdancers did that, but not in the punk scene. It wasn't really like that. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
yeah. The breakdancers
what
did
kind
that.
of paint did you use on the jean jackets
Acrylic.
that didn't chip off?
Straight acrylic.
Okay.
Yeah, acrylic with a gesso base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing those jackets. It was so fucking amazing. How long did it take to make it? Custom?
A couple days.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
Those
Yeah, I
like
would still do that.
hand-painted.
Now they call them battle jackets. They're a metal thing. They're a metal thing now.
Okay.
You know, they have these battle jackets. They cut off the sleeves. They put patches all over and get the back painted.
Yeah, my son is one of those. I think
He's a metal guy.
he likes Slipknot. He likes a lot of the new rap. He likes a lot of death metal. He likes his own things, you know.
See, my kid, it's strange. My kid could care less about music.
Yeah.
He listens to it, but he's listening to the Ramones or Descendants or whatever I have.
Oh yeah.
You know, or
He's not listening to shit on his own?
But he's heavily into basketball.
Okay.
So
Respect.
what that brings is a lot of like that hip hop
Yeah,
world.
yeah.
He's really into Drake and that sort of thing.
Travis Scott probably too.
Yeah,
That's
Travis
a popular one.
Scott and all that stuff. Yeah.
Do you
he's
listen
into
to it too and check it out?
that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, it's not my bag, man.
I know.
You know what I mean?
But
That's not my
they're
world.
talented though for sure.
They're talented for sure. Yeah.
There's like I'm gonna send you a link. There's a Travis Scott documentary right now. I watched the other day with my son. It's on Netflix. It's like this big deal. It tells this whole story, and I watched the whole story, and I still didn't get it. But I'm not supposed to get it. My
Yeah,
son's
right?
supposed to get it.
The other one is Kendrick.
Yeah.
His videos are pretty intense.
Kendrick is amazing lyricist. He's really smart. He gives back to the community.
Yeah.
I fucking love Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
He's legit. Like he's like a real one. He's an amazing, talented artist. He's not all over social media. He's off the grid. He just writes his records and puts them out. I love that.
But am I going to put it on the way home? I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, we're gonna end it. But listen, this is part one for sure because I could talk to Ernie for hours, and there's still more I want to talk to him about. But we did this. This is pretty good. This is hour and 40 minutes. But I want to thank you because you had impact on my life when I first met you. When I first moved to New York, I was pen pals with Timmy Chunks because of your band.
I had no idea you did this pen pal thing with him and Brian.
Yeah, man. Then I ended up moving into Queens with him, and that like I moved all by myself. I was the first kid. I was the youngest out of three to leave and go to a different state. Even before my older brothers moved to New York, lived with Timmy Chunks for a couple months. It's like, sorry, man, the landlord says you can't live anymore. And then I became like a couch surfer all through Queens. And
I remember going to Walter. I think Walter and Siv and maybe Gus had an apartment.
Yeah.
Right under the Hellgate, not the Hellgate, the Brooklyn Queens Expressway.
Yeah.
And you were sleeping in like a corner on a pillow.
No, I was in a fucking closet, man.
In a closet. That's what it was, a closet. On a pillow. That was it, man.
I was a closet master, man. But, well, thank you for everything you contributed to music and part of my life. But this is a part one for sure, because I know this motherfucker is going to be going home thinking, I forgot that, I forgot this, I forgot that. I'm going to do the same thing, but I appreciate you coming out. I know you have, on a work night, you're a dad, and you came all the way to Long Island. I really appreciate Ernie for being part of this.
Thank you.
I'm psyched for people to hear
Much
this.
appreciated.
And everything you've done. You're an amazing song. You continue to write songs. I'm excited to hear what you have coming next.
Excellent.
And awesome. Thank you, Ernie.
You got it, man.
That was fucking awesome. Hey, guys. Thanks for listening. Please rate, review, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet to this podcast, please do that. And whatever platform you are listening to this on, I'm glad you found me. You can rate me and review me on there also. So thank you guys sincerely for the support. I cannot wait for you guys to hear the next one.